And we are live, and welcome to Teaching Tip Tuesday. I didn't think we were going to make it tonight, but we're here. So, if you're new here, my name is Michelle, aka the Ignited Teacher. And on Teaching Tip Tuesday, what I do is I help you to close math learning gaps by providing you with research-based teaching tips and effective math strategies that can be implemented in your classroom as early as the next day. And I know y'all probably like, why is she fidgeting with herself? Well, trying to get situated. So welcome to Teaching Tip Tuesday, and I am so glad you're here. I'm coming on later than normal. I had a little issue with electricity, so we made it, and thank you for tuning in. And if you're joining me live, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. If you're catching me on the replay, I'm glad that you were able to join me. So tonight's topic is really, really important because in the midst of this whole pandemic thing, we it has been a roller coaster ride, and I'm laughing because it's a lot. So I've decided to share, some of my insights and things I've been doing to mitigate like these huge gaps that the students have. But before we get started, if you cannot catch me live and you want to catch some of my replays for Teaching Tip Tuesday, and you want to catch this current Teaching Tip Tuesday on the replay, you can always catch me at YouTube. And you can hop on over there while you're on the stream and subscribe to my channel. And don't forget to like this actual live stream and then hit the bell notification button so that you can be notified for when I actually go live or upload some other YouTube videos. So all you have to do is go on there, hop on over to YouTube, do a search for the Ignited Teacher, and poof, there I am. And definitely like this live stream. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So tonight's topic is about tiered assignments, and I'm not gonna lie. I differentiate, but generally I differentiate on the content side. So I might adjust my pacing for like different classes. I might adjust how I teach and put some other things in play. Like I might let my kids who struggle with math, I put videos in for them and show videos and, just differentiate in that way. So, well, this pandemic has caused all kinds of issues. And when I say all kinds of issues, I mean from kids with not really in the routine of school to children, not wanting to be in routines to being really this phone thing is out of control and they're connected to the phone. So I've had to battle that with other engagement strategies because you cannot engage kids with paper and pencil against a cell phone. You just can't. So our school is fortunately one-to-one, and I've been able to take their attention away from the phone with some other things, because that year and a half, they have picked up some really, really bad habits and not really having a routine and getting them back. They've been fighting tooth and nail. I can be honest with you about that. So back to the academic portion a lot of the students they have gaps, and I generally, in my classes, I see like children, after some time with teaching, they start to separate. That's not happening this year. And it's not happening because the kids have, my eighth graders were sixth graders when the pandemic first started. They're missing so much content. It's, and we're talking about instructional content. We're not even talking about misconception, because that's a whole nother conversation. So what I'm seeing in my classes is that some kids are here, and it's very few at the top, and you have some at the in the middle section, and then several at the bottom. And when I say the bottom, like they're missing skills, and I don't even know how else to put that. So it's like you have a highly mobile student, and that student has these instructional gaps. That's what I'm seeing in whole classes. And this year, differentiation is going to be imperative. And one of the things that has helped is tiered assignments, because I have about 7 kids that need to move on, and you can't hold them back. So I've been looking for some strategies to help them. So now what I do in my lessons is I put it out there and I use the tiered assignments. So that's one of the things that I'm going to talk about, is how beneficial this is for the children. So the first thing is that it builds the kids' confidence. So some of my kids, I teach an Algebra 1 class to 8th graders, and they struggle. So like when we get to the independent practice part, they're more confident with solving equations, because the equations are at their independent level. So the way that I tier it is, in the Algebra 1 class, and this can be applied to any class, this process, you don't change anything in the like the concept. So we were solving inequalities. So they had to be 2-step inequalities, but there were certain things that you can add. So my third group, they just solve straight 2-step equations, no distributive property. So my second group, they got distributive property plus maybe one fraction, and no decimals. And my top group, they got just Algebra 1 problems with fraction coefficients, distributive property, and decimals. So one of the things that I noticed, you really need to look at your curriculum to see what's the difference between the rigor of whatever you're doing. And that goes for word problems. If you're doing word problems, you have a word problem that each tier can solve. And it helps with the independent practice, because my kids were getting rowdy, independently, but that was because they could not do the work. And it's a lot smoother since I've been doing the tier assignments, because it naturally builds their confidence. So the other benefit I wanted to talk about is it helps with the planning. And I have a blog post on my blog about the actual planning with differentiation. So there are 3 ways you can differentiate: the content, product, and process. Now, for me, if you saw my previous live stream, it has caused problems with my pacing. And when kids have these huge instructional gaps, it does cause problems with your pacing. Your pacing is off, and you can't get through anything. And that was me for the first 3 weeks of school, because I was like, this is not normal. So what I've started doing is front loading my instruction with concepts. And that's still at the tiered level, still tiered assignments. So front loading may look like some of my kids may be on IXL. That may be my top group. I do use MobiMax. MobiMax is a program for kids that struggle, and my two bottom tiers, they actually do well with MobiMax because it's not just a program, it actually teaches them the concept. So I try to front load things that they need. For example, we had to order rational numbers. I had to teach them percents first because they're missing that from sixth and seventh grade. Then, we're talking about estimating square roots. No. So if you're an elementary teacher and you're teaching place value, you may have to go back to, especially fourth grade, when they talk about the number is 10 times as much as the number to the left, talking about that place value. You might have to go back and talk about place value and have them find the value of a digit. It's just one of those things. You can't assume that the children do know it because your lesson will unravel or stall right before your eyes. And that's what I've been finding. Like my lessons, when I say a lesson stalls, it's like a stalled car. You can't go any further. And until really the next day, you have to have the kids do something else. But the differentiation in the tiers, even with front loading, that helps with where the kids are and being able to be independent. One of the things that I have noticed that a lot of the children, they are not independent, especially with working on their own. It's like they need confirmation that, oh, this is right. I was talking with two of my colleagues and, well, coworkers, and we were talking about how one of my students asked me, like, is three positive or negative? I was like, it's positive. So, like, things, they're just not really sure. I mean, especially with math, they're with them missing those gaps. The kids need practice, 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 but they need the practice at their level. So the differentiation is important, and with the tiered assignment. So it gives you what you need and gives the kids what they need at their level. Tiered assignments don't have to be anything that's really, really labor intensive. So you may be looking, you could probably pull, if you're in elementary, go down to, first of all, you need to identify that vertical alignment. Where are these skills located? Because they're not located in every grade level. So for example, modeling equations is in sixth and seventh grade. And, but the abstract, just solving equations, is not really until seventh grade. A lot of the things are conceptual K through 6 as it relates to middle school. But if you're an elementary teacher, a lot of things in fifth grade come to where they have to apply everything in fifth grade. The lower grades, you don't have as many gaps. You're really working with horizontal alignment, especially kindergarten teachers. If you are working on number sense, that's something that, unfortunately, these kids probably are going to be missing, because a lot of those kindergartners I know in our district were missing because they didn't go to pre-K. So you have those gaps, but you need to basically just, some kids may have been taught at home, some not so much, and you have to tear them off where they are, and it will make your life easier. It just takes a little bit more planning because you're looking for the rigor and the difference in the actual problems. And I don't know why I have these scissors. I just picked them up. But just know that eventually you should see some kids move. Now, the way that I deal with the fallout from tiered assignments, and some people say, well, what if the kids ask, what group am I in? And I tell my students, I don't allow my kids to say smart and dumb. because it's really based on ability. And I told them, I said, you can move groups if you make enough progress and you're practicing, because that's what I've been doing, a lot of practice. The kids can move groups. They can. I do agendas and they know where they are. It's not a secret. We're a learning community and the children know what level, what group they're in. And they know that, hey, these are the problems I have to solve because I explain it in that way. But tiered assignments are not something, it's not something that's shameful. Because like the kids like, do you think I'm done? No, I don't. I think that you're lacking some skills. And you have to be honest about where children are. It is not something that's hidden, because you can't work on something that you're sugarcoating for the kids. But they have to work harder, because some of our children really don't believe that they are that far behind. They really don't. But a lot of them are. So when I tiered the kids, then, at first they had questions about it, but I just told them, I have to make it easier for you all when you work on your own. And there are certain things that you have to work on. And they get it. And some of them are like, I wasn't there in seventh grade. I didn't get what I needed in sixth grade. And, they just come to grips with it. And it's not something, and we'll celebrate when kids move groups. If you watched my video on starting up the school year, that's one of the things that I do celebrate, is when kids grow, because that's what it's about: upward mobility and movement. If the kids are not moving, then there's something wrong. And I know some people are going to say, well, tiered assignments, they're all going to get tested the same. But here's the thing. In my membership academy, I express to teachers, don't make something difficult more difficult than what it is. In the state of Texas, there are growth kids and there are kids that are going to be proficient. Everybody can't be proficient. So by January, you really need to look at where your kids are. And tiering the assignments will help them see the growth that you need for them, because schools still get points for kids growing. And differentiation will do that. But if you don't tier the assignments, the kids will never be able to work at their level and really show growth and progress, because the kids have to work independently. That's just the bottom line. And they have to be able to solve problems, whether that be addition and subtraction. So, for example, if you are in third and fourth grade, that's easy to differentiate. You can give them word problems that have zeros, some word problems that don't have zeros. You can do word problems and break the numbers down. So, because you only give them 1 through 9. So, if your bottom tier, give them problems with numbers 1 through 5. And your top tier, 6, 7, 8, 9. You can do that with multiplication. You can do that too. You can give, if you're teaching 2 by 2 multiplication, give the kids that struggle are your ones, twos, and threes. Problems with ones, twos, and threes. The same problem, just change the numbers out. Then for your higher level kids, give them 7, 8, and 9. Don't even worry about 5 and 6. So that's how you bump up the rigor to make it, doable for kids. And then you might want to change out some of the wording. But those are ways to tier assignments to help your kids be more confident and get the growth they need to work on their own. So I'm going to recap, and I'm going to give you 3 tips. So the first one is one benefit of tiering your assignments: it builds confidence. And the second one is it helps with planning. And the third one is that the kids can show growth. If you tier those assignments and the kids start to move, eventually they're going to show growth where they are, because kids have to be able to work independently. So if you are interested in learning more about the Math Intervention Academy, which is my membership, you can get on the wait list, and the link is in the description of the YouTube video and in this live stream, because it's going to become a video after I stop this live stream. So if you catch me on the replay, click the link, get on the wait list. I keep it closed. I had someone ask me, well, if it's a digital resource, why is it closed? Well, it helps with enrollment. Right now, I have 61 wonderful teachers in my Math Intervention Academy, and I'm looking forward to enrolling more. And you can get on that wait list to be notified for when the Math Intervention Academy opens its doors again. So I want to say thank you again for popping in, tuning in live or on the replay. And don't forget to hop on over to YouTube and like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit the bell notification button so you can be notified for when I upload other videos or go live just like I did tonight. So I will see you all next week for another episode of